Chapter 1. Only me, Jojo. It's dark again. So it's evening. It's the third evening. No, I'm wrong. It's the fourth evening. It's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Yes, it's Thursday. Why do I count the days? Why do I say it's Thursday? There aren't any more days. There's just time. Time when it's dark, and time when it's light. Everything is dead, so why not days, too? Yes? No more days. No more Thursdays. There's only now. And there's only me. Why? Why aren't I dead, too? That's a stupid question, Jojo, I say to myself. You know why you aren't dead. You aren't dead because you weren't in the house. You were in the fields when the men came. But that's not my question. I want to know why I was in the fields. Why wasn't I in the house with my family? There are no answers to questions like that, Jojo, I tell myself. I have to talk to myself because there isn't anyone else. I think there are mice here. I can hear them at night. You can't talk to mice. But there aren't any other people. There's only me. Jojo. I know this because I listen. I listen all day and all night. I hide in our stable, where the horse lived. And I hear nothing. Just the mice. The village is quiet. There is smoke now, but smoke is quiet. The fires were noisy, but the fires have stopped. It rained yesterday, and after the rain there were no more fires. Just smoke. Of course, I'm not the only thing alive here. As well as the mice, there's a dog somewhere in the village. I can hear it. And there are rats and flies. But I think I'm the only person here. All the others are dead. Everyone in the village is dead. There's only me now and I don't know what to do. I'm not in our house. I went into our house after the men went away. So I saw my family. All of them on the floor. All the blood on the floor, too. They were all dead. My mother, my father, my sister, my brother. My family. Jojo, don't think about that, I say to myself. Don't think about the blood. Don't think about those things. But I can't stop thinking about them. My mother had no clothes on. I've never seen my mother without clothes. Perhaps I will go into the house tomorrow and put some clothes on my mother. She must be cold without clothes. But I'm afraid that the men are going to come back. Perhaps they are looking for me. Perhaps they will come back for me. Perhaps I want them to find me. Then I can be dead, too. I don't want to be the only one alive. Come on, Jojo, I say to myself. You are the man of the family now. You must be a big boy. You must be strong. It's difficult to be strong when you're 10. And I'm only just 10. My birthday was last month. In July. I got a bicycle for my birthday. It was white. It was a wonderful bicycle. I cycled to school on it every day. There isn't a school here anymore. There was a big fire there and now there's just smoke. I don't know where my bicycle is. But I don't want it anymore. I don't understand why the men came to our village. It's not a very rich village. We don't have very much. We're not like the people in the big towns. My brother went to live in the town. He told us about the cars and the shops and all the things there. Why didn't my brother stay in the town? Why did he come back here? Why did he die? He was always laughing. He was always so nice to everyone. He wanted to be a teacher. He went to the town to study. My father said that my brother was a good son. He worked hard. He wasn't going to be a poor farmer like my father. I said I was going to study hard, too, and my father laughed. His big laugh. The laugh that made his tummy go up and down. I like that, he said. That's good. I'll have 2 sons to look after me when I'm old. I'm going to study too, said my sister. Just find a rich husband, said my father. I don't want a rich husband, my sister told me. I'm going to be a teacher like our brother. You see, Jojo, our father doesn't know, but there are lots of women teachers in the town. Our brother told me. But my sister can't be a teacher now. She's dead on the floor. There was blood on her legs. I pulled down her skirt. It wasn't nice like that. My sister was always very nice. She was kind, too. Why did the men hurt her? She never hurt anyone. Sometimes I want to die now, too. But sometimes I don't. I don't want to die. I sit at the back of the stable. The stable is where our horse slept at night. But the men took away all the horses. I heard them. I'm happy that our horse is alive. She was a good horse. I gave her nuts. She liked eating nuts. I'm very hungry, but I don't want to look for food. I'm afraid one of the men will come back and see me. I'll stay here and be very quiet. Then no one will find me. It's dark now. I can hear the mice. Or perhaps they are rats. I'm not afraid of them. They are probably hungry. I'm so hungry I can't sleep. Don't think about food. Think about something else. Then I'll forget how hungry I am. Perhaps I'll talk to my mother. Or my brother or my sister. I like to think about them. Perhaps that's why I'm alive. So one day I can tell people about them. I'm Jojo, I'll say. I'm alone now, but once I had a family. My grandmother said that when people die, they go away very slowly. After they die, they stay in the air so you can say goodbye to them. You mustn't be afraid of ghosts, she told me. Ghosts are good. You can talk to them and they will help you. I think that there are lots of ghosts here. I think that my grandmother was right. I'm going to tell them that I'm here. This is Jojo, I'll say. I'm not dead and I won't let the men find me. I'll stay here and I'll talk to you so you won't feel so sad. Maybe the ghosts will help me. There's a sound outside the stable. There's something there. Something bigger than a mouse. I don't know what it is. And now I can hear another sound. A bigger sound, Like a lorry. It is a lorry. A lorry is coming here to the village. The men are coming here. I'll be very quiet. Perhaps they won't find me. Chapter 2. The men in the lorry. The sound outside the stable door changes and I know what it is. Cluck, 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 cluck. It's my chicken, Whitetail. Whitetail is my favorite chicken. She gives us lots of eggs. We're never going to eat her, my father once told me. He understood that Whitetail was my chicken. I call to Whitetail and she answers me. She comes into the stable, but she's very afraid. Maybe the men try to kill her. I take her in my arms and talk to her. I'm very hungry, I tell Whitetail. His clothes look tired, too. Maybe he sleeps in his clothes. Chris has a face like tired clothes. Maybe he's traveled a long way. After I've eaten, I feel stronger. I can stand up. Chris takes me over to talk to the soldiers. You must bury everyone in the field of the families, I tell the soldiers. This is where all the families are together. It's very important that the dead sleep with their families. The soldiers understand. They have families at home, they say. The soldiers take my family out of the house and I don't want to look, but I do look. The soldiers have put blankets over the bodies. There is no more blood. The soldiers speak very quietly. They don't want to wake up my family. They understand that you have to talk quietly when you are talking to ghosts. I tell Chris the names of all the people in the village and he writes down their names. Then we go into the field of the families. We walk round the village. I know all the people in the village. I don't know anything outside the village, and I'm afraid of the world outside. But I don't tell anyone. I tell the soldiers the names of the people in each house. Then they bring out the bodies. We go first to the big house. The most important man in the village lived here. He had many cows, as well as goats and chickens. There is nothing here now. All his family are dead. His daughter is dead. She was at school with me. I liked her, she was very funny. She liked drawing. She sometimes drew pictures of the teacher in class. Now she is a body under a blanket. Next to her is her brother. He was a bit older than me. He went to school, too, and he helped in the fields. He milked the goats in the mornings and evenings, and worked with his father on Saturdays and Sundays. All my friends. All my cousins and aunts and uncles. All the people I talk to every day. The man with a funny walk, who lived by himself near the river. The woman who gave all the children sweets, our teacher, my family. They aren't here anymore. There are only bodies under blankets. When we go to the teacher's house, we hear sounds. It's the teacher's dog, inside the house. Chris goes into the house and then he comes out. The dog isn't hurt, Chris tells me, but he's afraid and very hungry. I can't go near him. Do you know him, Jojo? Does he have a name? I know him, I say. But he doesn't have a name. The teacher just called him Dog. The dog's afraid, but he needs some food and water, Chris tells me. I think that I smell strange to the dog. Perhaps your smell won't be so strange, Jojo. Can you take the dog some food and water? I don't know why they don't just kill the dog. He doesn't have a job to do here anymore. Why don't the soldiers shoot the dog? I asked Chris. They don't want to, says Chris. In my country we love animals. We don't like to hurt them. I think I know why they don't want to kill the dog. There are too many bodies here already. The soldiers have food in little boxes. They open a box and give it to me and I take it inside the teacher's house. The teacher's body has gone, but there's blood on the floor. The smell of the blood is making the dog very afraid. Hello, dog, I say. It's me, Jojo. Dog is very angry. He wants to hurt me. I put the food on the ground and push it to him. Dog eats it very quickly and drinks the water and I talk to him. After a while, he is quieter. And then I take him outside. He's very happy to be outside and he runs around. He's a nice dog. He's not at all dangerous. Chris takes photos of me and dog. He takes photos very quickly. When my brother took photos, he told me not to move. But Chris takes photos when I am moving. His camera makes a funny click-click sound. The soldiers all like dog. They give him chocolate. And they give me chocolate, too. The soldiers and I go to my school. The fire was very big here. There is no school building here anymore. But there are also no bodies. The school was closed when the men came. The soldiers find 2 books on the floor. They have a few pages which aren't burnt. They give the books to me. The fire has eaten the village. There is nothing here now. Only me and dog and Whitetail and 2 books with black pages. I show Chris the books and he looks very sad. My children read books like that, he tells me. The soldiers go into the field of the families. They make holes and bury the people from my village. Then they write their names on bits of wood and push the bits of wood into the earth, too. I go into the field with them. I want to talk to my grandmother. Hello, grandmother, I say. This is Jojo. I've brought you the family. I know you'll be happy to see them again. I'm not coming with them. But I want to be with them, grandmother. I'm all alone here. Well, not really alone. There are lots of soldiers. They don't speak our language, so they can't talk to you. They are nice to me, but they say they are going to take me away. I don't want to leave you, grandmother, but I know I have to go. So I'm here to say goodbye. Above the field I can see big birds in the sky. They are bad birds. Birds that don't sing. The birds that sing have all gone. I am talking quietly to my grandmother when I hear sounds. They are a long way away, but I know what they are. Guns. Some of the men who came across the river had guns. I could hear the sound of the guns in the field. They were very loud. When they stopped, I could hear them in my head. These guns make a bigger sound. They are a long way away, but I can hear them. The soldiers are listening, too. They say that we must leave now. The fighting is getting nearer. Chapter 4. The walls will fall down. I didn't know about the fighting. All I knew was the village and the things my brother told me about the big town. No one told me about fighting. There are so many things that I don't know. Right now, I don't know where I'm going. I only know that I'm leaving my village. Chris has a jeep and he says that he will drive me to the children's house. I know it's a jeep because my uncle had a jeep once. Chris's jeep is very dirty. That's because the earth roads are wet now. I get into the jeep with Chris and we follow the soldiers out of our village. I am leaving my home. I am leaving everything I know. I'm thirsty and Chris gives me water from a strange flat bottle. It's got a kind of coat on it. Chris says that it's a soldier's water bottle and it's like that to keep the water cold. It's good water. There are no flies in it and it's not green like the water from the river. Why do people fight? I ask Chris. I don't know, says Chris. He sounds very tired. I don't know why men fight each other. All I do is take photos and tell stories. I love stories. My grandmother often told me stories about our family and what happened a long, long time ago. I tell Chris this. I don't write stories like that, says Chris. I write stories about things that are happening now. I write for a newspaper in England. I tell people a long way away about people like you, he says. About me? I ask. Are you going to tell my story? Maybe, says Chris. Is that okay? I think about it. Yes, I decide. That's okay. My newspaper likes stories about children, Chris says. He sounds angry, but I don't know why. Tell me about your family, says Chris. So I tell Chris about my family. I can do that. But I can't talk about the men. There are no words for that. The words don't want to come out. I will never tell anyone about those things. I tell Chris about my parents and about my brother and sister. I want people to know about my family. Chris says he will tell people all about them. He'll tell them about how my father worried about the rain. He'll tell them how my sister wanted to be a teacher like my brother, and he'll tell them about me and my white bicycle. I tell him how my mother looked after the house. After the fire, a lot of the house fell down. I told my mother all about it, I say to Chris. You told your mother? He asks. Yes. I talked to her ghost. You know that, after they die, people go away very slowly. I don't know a lot about ghosts, I tell Chris. Only what my grandmother told me. She said that you can't see them and you can't hear them, but you know that they're there. I think that your grandmother was right, says Chris. When you go to a village after people die you can feel them there. I'm happy that Chris understands. I like Chris. He is my new friend. I think he understands. He says that he often comes to my country. He likes it very much. I tell Chris that I'm worried about my house. I'm not there now, I tell him. Perhaps all the walls will fall down. Then there will be no more house. I'm sorry, says Chris. But you can't stay there. It's too close to the fighting. When I was a very small boy, I tell Chris, I didn't know why there were walls, so I asked my mother. What did she say? Chris asks me. She told me that the walls hold up the roof, and you need the roof so you don't get wet when it rains. So I went outside to look at the roof, but it was raining and I got very wet. Chris laughs. I was very small, I tell him. I asked my mother lots of questions and she always knew the answers. My children were the same. They always asked me lots of questions, but I don't think I always knew the answers, says Chris. But we also had walls outside, all the way round the farm, I tell Chris. You saw them. When I was small, I walked round them and thought that these were walls, but there wasn't a roof. So I asked my mother why there were walls all round the farm and no roof. And what did your mother say? Chris asks me. She told me that the walls showed that it was our house. We had walls to stop other people from coming in. But I thought, why did we want to stop people from coming in? I didn't understand then, you see. Lots of people came into our house. My father's friends often came in and they drank and laughed together. I heard them when I woke up in the night. And in the morning my father had a headache and we all walked very quietly. Chris laughs. I like his laugh. I know just how your father felt, he says. When I drink too much, I get headaches, too. My brother had friends in the house, too, I tell Chris. Sometimes people came to buy animals and to sell them. And the doctor from the next village came into our house once when I hurt my head. So I thought and thought. And then I asked my mother about it again. And what did your mother say? Chris asks again. She told me that there were other people in the world. People who weren't nice. She told me that there were people on the other side of the river. They didn't like us and they didn't want us to live on our farms. So we had walls. And my mother told me that the river was our wall, too. It was so big, no one could cross it. So we were safe. I didn't understand then. I thought, how can a river be like a wall? But I understand now. And my mother was wrong. I thought that she knew all the answers, but she didn't. She didn't know that the people could cross the river. She thought that we were safe. And when the people came from the other side of the river, the walls didn't stop them. The river didn't stop them. Chris is quiet. We're going slowly along the road. The road is very bad because of the rain. The guns are louder now. We're driving past a village and I can see that there has been a fire here, too. It's all black and it smells like our village. It's a very bad smell. We drive slowly, but we see nobody. It's another village of ghosts.